ever learn. If you keep on banging, you're gonna get burned. All this wanna be bad and tough, strolling around and getting all shot up. You better wise up, start open your eyes, cause what you're all doing is just a waste of time. Even y'all's mama try to tell you right, but you still shoot each other and fight. Just look at you, who are you? Tell me what you're gonna do. You don't know cause you're all confused. Your mind is lost, it was never there, cause you put yourself up on gang warfare. When it comes to think, you don't even dare. Half of y'all have nothing upstairs. You've been ripped up, shot up so many times. All y'all look like Frankenstein. Hey!
Gangsters, big bad gangsters, why don't you stop shooting each other up? Gangsters, big time gangsters, all you're doing is messing your lives up.
Some of y'all out there 21, still trying to gang bang just for fun. You don't even want to grow up. All you wanna do is remain a dumb nut. Don't think about a job or education. You got your mama so worried she taking medication, praying hard every day and night. She hope you're not arrested or in a gang fight, but you still refuse to see the light. You shot one of your rivals and took his life. Now your buddy's marred for a hit. Each time you get away, you think you slick. One of these days you're gonna learn. If you keep on banging, you got to get burned. Now they're looking for you, but you weren't there, so they shot your mama and now she's dead. What a shame!
Big bad gangsters, why don't you stop shooting each other up? Gangsters, big time gangsters, all you're doing is making your lives up. Gangsters,
Bang
big
bang,
bad gangsters,
bang bang.
why don't you stop shooting each other up? Gangsters, big time gangsters, all you're doing is making your lives up.
Breakdown.
Hey, you down there, buddy, drop the gun and put your hands up in the air.
Wait a minute, y'all don't know who I am.
Man, get in the car. This is Officer Riley. I'm on the scene of a gang-related incident. We've captured one suspect and we also have a possible DOA.
Put your guns down. Hey!
Gangsters, big bad gangsters, why don't you stop shooting each other up?
Why don't you just stop?
Gangsters, big time gangsters,
Tough gangsters.
all you're doing is messing your lives up.
Don't you know it's time to grow up?
Gangsters,
Bang
big bad
bang,
gangsters,
bang bang.
why don't you stop shooting each other up?
Hey, no gang bang.
Gangsters,
Bang bang,
gangsters.
bang bang.
How's it going, everybody? This is Soul Town Productions once again, bringing you a video of knowledge of gang violence, the ups and downs of gang banging, trying to push the youth to finding a positive route instead of a destructive path, because it leads to nothing but pain in our families, and in reality you just lose your life for nothing, a street that's never going to belong to you, and I want to tell everybody, please comment, share, subscribe my channel. I know right now my vocal sound isn't too perfect, but pretty soon I'm gonna be getting some equipment to make my podcast a little bit more interesting and not sound so scratchy. So today, with no further introduction, I'm gonna be talking about Santa Anita, right? Very notorious barrio right there in Santa Ana. It's located over there by Harbor and I believe it's First Street at Santa Anita Park. Very beautiful park. Lots of people used to play soccer there. It's a very known park. I think Santa Anita also claims the park of Cesar Chavez right there on I believe it's Civic Center. And yeah, so I have a situation that happened in this article that I found, right? Happened on October 23 of 2006 at 7:25 p.m. Ortiz, a member of a criminal street gang with the moniker of Termite, was hanging out in his gang territory near Shelton Street and Highland Street in Santana. Lagunas, with the moniker of Dopey, and Cabezas, with the moniker of Pollo, were in a gang that was friendly with Ortiz's gang. Cabezas and Lagunas were together in Cabezas' 2005 black Toyota Camry, in the area of Shelton Street and Wilshire Avenue in Santana. They were armed with a 357 revolver and a 9mm semi-automatic handgun. Laguna saw Ortiz and told Cabezas to pull over so he could talk to his homie Ortiz. Cabezas pulled over and Ortiz got in the rear passenger seat. Ortiz, Cabezas, and Lagunas discussed hunting a particular rival gang and referred to it by using its derogatory nickname. The defendants drove east on West Wilshire through the intersection with South Shelton and the defendants drove east and West Wilshire through the intersection with South Shelton and saw 51-year-old Emeterio Adame standing next to rival criminal street gang member Benjamin Shotgun Lopez, who is paralyzed from the waist down and was sitting in his wheelchair. Lopez was paralyzed when he was shot by rival gang members. Adame had just returned home from work and was talking to Lopez. Adame's oldest son was a gang member who had recently been killed in a drive-by shooting. Emeterio Adame was never affiliated with any criminal street gang. At approximately 7:30 p.m., Cabeza stopped the vehicle a short distance away on Wilshire Avenue. Lagunas and Ortiz got out of the vehicle and quickly ran to southeast corner of Shelton and Wilshire and opened fire. Lopez dove out of his wheelchair onto the ground and was unharmed. Adame was struck by a single bullet, which entered the right side of his back, lacerating his kidney and liver. Adame was pronounced dead as a result of the gunshot at 8:34 p.m. at the Western Medical Center. Ortiz was interviewed by detectives from the Santa Anita Police Department who investigated this case on December 11, 2006, and claimed he was not involved in the shooting and was let out of the car before the shooting when he saw his girlfriend. Sufficient evidence to proceed against Ortiz was developed and Ortiz was then arrested on April 11, 2011. Ortiz again denied any involvement in the shooting and claimed he was let out of the car before the shooting to go look for friends from the friendly gang, which was inconsistent with his previous statement that he was let out when he saw his girlfriend. Co-defendant Cabezas agreed to testify against Ortiz. After hearing that Ortiz had been discussing the case with another inmate, both the inmate and Cabezas testified at the first trial, resulting in Ortiz being convicted for the murder of Emeterio Adame and the attempted murder of Benjamin Lopez. So this one's a very interesting article. I actually found it on a case file, and it always ends the same, right? One person starts talking, the other person starts hearing that the other person's talking, and they both end up snitching each other out. There's no loyalty, you know? Yeah, there's loyalty to a certain extent. But whenever you get to a real sticky situation where you know you ain't going to get out of it, and you start hearing your homeboy talking about it, not everybody, but mostly a lot of people, they'll go against their hood just to get out of the wreck they put themselves in, you know? So there's no loyalty, you know? The loyalty is in family, your blood, people that may make mistakes, but at the end of the day, you'll always have them by their side, you know? And maybe you may not have blood family that you have by your side, but as long as you have that one person that cares about you, checks up on you, and really wants the best for you, that's all you need, man. You know, that's family. And so I found another one, right? It's during the afternoon of June 17, 2007, Borjas, his wife, Yvonne Luevano, and their 10-year-old son were celebrating Father's Day by watching a movie at home when they heard a knock at their front door. Borjas got up and answered the door. He talked to a man about 10-15 minutes before Luevano heard him say, "No, I'm not interested." She asked, "Babe, who's that?" When Borjas turned to respond, the male visitor pushed open the front door and rushed inside. Luevano watched as the unknown and armed intruder fired a shot into the ceiling. She quickly grabbed her son and ran out of her house. Once she made sure her son was safely outside, Luevano went back inside from behind the wall. She watched her husband wrestle with the intruder. Their dog bit the man in the leg, and Borjas managed to knock the assailant's gun to the ground. However, Borjas tripped over a rug and fell to the floor. She then saw the hand, arm, and gun of a second intruder come around the front door and fired several shots. The first assailant retrieved his gun and shot Borja several times before both assailants fled the scene. Borja died as a result of multiple gunshot wounds. Gomez was arrested within days of the murder after being advised of his Miranda rights. Gomez said he had been involuntary wheelman in the crime, and he identified Cardenas and Oseguera as the shooters. Once again, I'm telling you, there's no loyalty. Someone's going to flip, and now you're just stuck. You put in that work, and for what? They're going to end up snitching anyways. You're going to get caught. You're going to do time, The only people that really suffer is your family, your kids, 2 weeks later, police officers showed Luevano a photographic lineup, and she identified Cardenas as the first intruder and the person who shot her husband. Around the same time as Luevano's identification, Santa Ana Police Detective Melesio Saravia interviewed Araceli Quirino. In a recorded statement, she told police Cardenas, or D, which is short for demon, had been at her house the morning of the murder. Cardenas said he needed a ride so he could take care of some business. They walked out into the street, flagged down Gomez. Gomez agreed to give Cardenas a ride, but he said he needed to do something first. He returned about half an hour later, and Quirino and Cardenas got into his car. The three of them drove up to another Santa Ana residence, picked up Oseguera, and returned to Quirino's home. As she got out of the car, Cardenas told her, "We're going to drop you off. Need to take care of something. Don't trip." Then Gomez, Cardenas, and Oseguera drove away. On June 28, 2007, police stopped a Ford Focus. Cardenas, who had been a passenger in the car, attempted to flee from the police officers. Police officers found a .45 caliber Glock semi-automatic handgun in his possession. He was taken into custody and advised of his Miranda rights. He exercised his right to remain silent and declined to give a statement. Moreno and his brother David drove up to Gerardo Medina and Pedro Blancas, who were talking on the sidewalk, and approached them. So they killed this man. They didn't get nothing out of it. Whatever they were trying to gain, I don't know if they're trying to steal his home, or if they knew him. Maybe he was an associate. Maybe they saw him as no good. Who knows, right? That's all the information I got. And at the end of the day, the driver ended up snitching on the other two guys. All bad. What's the point? Everybody's doing time. Now, what's the point of that? It's a waste of time. You're not going to get nothing out of it. You're not going to get no medals out of it or no money out of it. Just stay away from it, you don't have to go to school. Get a job. Help out your family at home, Stay out of that trouble, man, because it's not worth it. So I have another article here. Really short one, but it's still critical to talk about, right? So Moreno and his brother David drove up to Gerardo Medina and Pedro Blancas, who were talking on the sidewalk, and approached them. David grabbed Blancas by the collar and took his necklace, watch, and some money from his pocket. So Moreno and his brother David are two gang members that saw another guy, Gerardo and Pedro, on the street, right? They walked up to him and started mugging them, Moreno took Medina's wallet from his pocket and removed $12. Medina did not resist because he was afraid Moreno had a weapon. The Morenos left, but soon returned after Blancas and Medina told the parking patrol officer about the robberies. The car stopped and Moreno shouted in Spanish it would be worse for Blancas and Medina if they told the police. A short while later, the police located the Morenos and apprehended them. Officer Jeffrey Launi testified as a gang expert. He opened Moreno and David were Santa Anita gang members who committed the robbery for the gang's benefit. He based his opinion Moreno was a Santa Anita member on a background investigation and several tattoos Moreno had that contained the gang name, initials, or logos. He believed the robbery was committed for the gang's benefit. It occurred in Santa Anita territory. Street robberies instill fear and intimidation in the victims. and Moreno and David returned to the crime scene to threaten the victims if they told the police. And that's normal. Obviously they're gonna go try to intimidate you so you won't talk. And you got two options. You got three options when it comes down to being victimized by a neighborhood, by a gang. First option, the most main option, the most critical option, right, is move out of the area. Don't live in the neighborhood. If you can't afford it, it's tough, but the best thing to do is to move out of there because, yeah, you could go to the cops, but what's going to happen is that now you become a target. Now you become a target that they want to hit. They don't want to leave you out. So that's why the option of calling the police, uh, it's a very risky option. Yeah, the police can come help you, but how quick are they going to get there? By the time they get there, you already been victimized. You already got hurt. You already got mugged or whatever it is that they're doing, right? So the very most, the best way you could fight against being victimized is if you're a U.S. citizen and you're allowed to carry a weapon, go get your gun license. Get your gun license. Make sure you always protect yourself. Protect your home because at the end of the day, these people don't care, man. Most of the time they're drugged out. Most of the time, I've seen a lot of the older guys nowadays that you see them on bikes, drugged out. You know, I noticed that in rap videos, you see a lot of young rappers rapping with lowriders and they're all fixed up and they're looking all nice. But I don't know about you guys, but in the few neighborhoods that I've seen in Orange County, you don't see that. You don't see gangbangers in old school cars. You don't see no one banging in lowriders. You don't see that nowadays. Nowadays it's guys on bikes or they got a really messed up little car, or the youngsters obviously they probably get a car from the dealer, and no one's banging on lowriders. And so yeah, so the best thing I would say is just protect yourself, get your permit to get a weapon and protect your home. So I found another article, right? It's called Remembering Santa Anita. Barrio Santa Anita, or Santanita, as some locals have always called it, is one of the oldest Mexican colonias in Santa Ana. It extends from Campesino Park on the north, Santa Anita Park on the south, and from Harbor Boulevard on the west to about Jackson Street or a few streets more to the east. It is one of the largest barrios, possibly larger than Barrio Artesia, another historic Santa Ana barrio. One cannot get an appreciation for or a sense of the scale of the neighborhood until driving through it. A drive through it while talking of the neighborhoods yesteryear with lifelong Santa Ana resident and DJ Sal Navarrete is even better. Prior to moving to Santa Anita, Sal and his family lived in the other historic Santa Ana barrios of Logan and Artesia. Sal's father set roots and moved his family to the Logan area in 1960, where the family lived at Garfield Street and Santa Ana Boulevard. In 1972, the father moved the family to Barrio Artesia, where they lived at 3rd and Daisy Street. In 1978, the family moved to 5th Street and Bailey in Santa Anita, where Sal briefly attended Russell Elementary, which was and still is oddly part of the Garden Grove Unified School District. Sal remembers seeing Barrio Santa Anita with no sidewalks and dirt roads. A number of the main streets we drove through, like Bewley, Jackson, Gunther, Figueroa, and others, were still dirt roads with eucalyptus trees with huge roots in the late 70s and early 80s. He remembers when the reputable favorite Vietnamese restaurant on 1st and Jackson Streets was a Burger King, and when the Taqueria La Vida a bit further west on 1st Street was a McDonald's. A portion of a McDonald's golden arch still remains on the side of the building. It was Bewley that Sal met and married his neighborhood sweetheart. It was on Bewley that Sal met and married his neighborhood sweetheart. There was a gas station that dated to the 1920s on the corner of 5th and Gunther Street, and there was a dairy that sold freshly squeezed milk from cows that grazed on land near the Santa Anita River and Fifth Street. Across the Campesino Park, that land is now the site of the Wellington Place and Bentley Park housing developments. My father, Francisco Avalos Ortiz, remembers seeing horse stables and trails by Fifth Street and the Santa Anita River, and the Santa Ana River. Sal mentioned that the city has always tried to redevelop Willowwick Golf Course and the Santa Anita area since the 1980s. There was talk in the early 80s of building a mall there. The amount of land there was enough to whet the appetites of any developer. Sal said that in more recent times, some homeowners were sent letters indicating an intent to develop a soccer stadium at Willowwick for Chivas USA, and that some homes could be bought and removed for that purpose. His friend Checo, who lives in Figueroa, said his household received a notice about a potential Chivas move. There was a time where more people in the neighborhood used to know each other, but many of the Santanita friends and families that he remembers have passed on or moved away, and only very few remain. Santanita, on a personal note, and how I remember it, has always seemed to be a bit of a sleepy side of town, at least from the outside. And this may be because of its troubled past with crime and the Santanita gang. Sal said that there were too many bars near Santanita and the neighborhood was plagued with drug dealing. Santanita was the first Santa Ana neighborhood to have a gang injunction placed on it, and that made the neighborhood even more sleepy, but on a good note. Nowadays, it is very rare, if not impossible, to see a gang member anywhere in the neighborhood. Instead, ordinary people are seen playing basketball on the courts of Santa Anita Park, and there's a very well kept and fenced off soccer field there. The whole park seemed a bit underutilized with more potential at the road entrance to the park. There's a section of the land that is fenced off and used infuriatingly for nothing more than storing tires. In a city that needs park space, that land should be incorporated into Santa Anita Park. Additional parking could be added there along with more park space. The Santa Anita that I as passerby have known, my sleepy Santa Anita, is like a sleeping giant. It is in the hands of those in the Santa Anita to determine the future of their neighborhood by enlivening their local economy with new businesses. Enlivening their local economy. It needs an economic shot in the arm, and who better to pick up Santa Anita than those that are there and have roots there. At the same time, the city elected officials need a wake-up call, and they need a visionary there, a fresh set of eyes, to help bring Santa Anita to its maximum potential. The city can start acquiring the land next to Santa Anita Park to add more park space. So, Santa Anita has always been very notorious. I've said it before. The way I have a video that I made, it's called LA's War on Gangs, and I read a few articles about the way that the government likes to fight off gangs, right? And they don't do it by running up with guns. They don't do it by they used to do it like that. They used to raid your house, and I've heard stories of 50 cops walking through the neighborhoods when they were really active. I've heard crazy stories, right? I didn't see stuff like that, when I was growing up in the area I lived in. It was active. You would hear shots, every other night. I got to witness people shooting each other in front of me. I got to witness things like people almost getting ran over in front of me. I've been ran up on by different videos thinking that I'm from that neighborhood. I've almost been shot because of I used to just stand outside my pad, right? And people will come and hit me up with straps, and things kept pushing, right? And the way that LA fought gangs, and the way Orange County fought gangs too, now they're doing it, is through a gentrification, right? They bring in money to the neighborhood. They bring in businesses, and they remodel the apartments, and they remodel the area, bringing in more money, which pushes out the ghetto, right? Which pushes out the low income families. It pushes out raza, brings in the white people. It brings in different races. You know, much love to the other races, right? But let's keep it real. They're pushing our people out, and we need to look after our own first. You know, before we start thinking about any type of change. And so they use gentrification. They push low income families out of the way, and that's one of the ways. Another way was the gang injunctions. You know, you can't be seen with more than two people. I think three's a crowd. I think that's what it is. And the gang injunctions was another way where the government fought gangs. You know, uh, I heard stories of back in the early '90s that a lot of neighborhoods used to have a neighborhood watch in the nighttime, right? And the neighborhood watch people would always collide with the gang members. I've heard stories of that. I've heard stories of the neighborhood watch ending because gang members started shooting at the neighborhood watch. They were getting into fights, crazy fights. I heard stories where even the gang members were feeling the blues sometimes. You know, neighborhood watch was on them. Crazy stories, you know. If anybody has any crazy stories they could share, leave a comment on my page. I will contact you. Uh, I would like to hear more of the story of Santa Anita, the older days. Uh, and yeah, you know, it's crazy, you know. And I try to tell the youngsters nowadays to stay away from that. It's not worth it, you know. Let's go back to culture. You know, we don't even know our roots. You know, we a lot of these youngsters nowadays, they don't even know where their beef started from. You know, a lot of the time they start from highness. I've seen many homies go down that path of destruction because of highness, and it's like the story of Adam and Eve, right? The reason why Adam was kicked out of the Garden of Eden was because Eve was fooled by the snake, right? So it's just a sad story, you know. It's not worth game banging. Uh, I hope the youngsters stay away from that. And I'm gonna bring in more articles coming up. I hope you guys heard this video to the end. I'm gonna start a 13 video segment of the 13 royal bloodlines. I'm gonna go through each family one by one, bringing in information about who these people are that are running our government, that's running our systems out here. I want to find out who it is that's that's running this global elite. You know, this global elite that's made up of rich families that have been governing since the old days, is when America started. So I'm gonna start a 13 video segment. I hope you guys stay tuned for that. I'm gonna bring in nothing but knowledge. After that, I'm gonna bring in other videos of different tribes of the Mexica. Right. I'm gonna talk about. I saw a video where Marvelous talked about how the Mexica was connected to the Issachar of the 12 tribes of Israel. I'm thinking of doing a 12 video segment on the 12 tribes of Israel and where each one migrated to. Guatemala and Chile and those kind of countries are known, are thought to be part of the 12 tribes of Israel as well. So it'll be interesting to think that there's some kind of connection there. You know, I was doing my little research from when I heard Marvelous podcast. But yeah, so I hope you guys stay tuned. This is Soul Town Production, representing for the Raza, right? I'm here for my people. I want my people to do better. We could do better out here, you know, help our families out, stay out of prison. It's not worth it, right? Uh, I don't know if you guys seen that video of one of the Bone Thugs and Harmony guys talking about how the prison and the music industry made a pact to start promoting violent music so the youth could start uh, start gang banging, just gangster music. They promoted gangster music to make the youth start shooting each other and start victimizing each other, so the prison systems could start getting overfilled. Maybe I'll drop a video on that too later, but our people have been fooled and they're being kept under captivity, and this captivity happens to come from belonging from gangs. Now our people are held under captivity, and we need to make sure that the future generations that are coming along don't get stuck in that same trap. So with that being said, I'm going to end this video with that. I hope you guys have a good day, and nothing but positivity, my people. Stay up.